And let's take a closer look now at the regional implications of the Taliban takeover in Afghanistan. For that, Armen Georgian, our international affairs editor, joins me here in the studio. Armen, let's focus on two key players in the region, Pakistan and China. What is the approach of these two countries in regards to the new Taliban leadership?
Well, they're strategic partners and they have a lot of joint economic projects. So they'll be very keen to safeguard those projects to make sure that any instability in Afghanistan doesn't endanger those Chinese Belt and Road Initiative projects, including something called the CPEC. We can show you on the map. That's the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which actually, it's that blue line you can see that threads right through Pakistan. It goes up from that region in at the top, Xinjiang in China, through Pakistan, right down to the Arabian Sea. And you can see that blue line passes very close to Afghanistan's border. So China and Pakistan have this common economic stability interest. And it was very interesting to see, even before the Taliban got to Kabul, a Taliban delegation was hosted by China, and they were asked to crack down on militant groups, particularly something called ETIM, the East Turkestan Islamic Movement, which China is concerned about. Pakistan, for its part, is concerned about something called the TTP, Tehrik-e-Taliban, which is a banned faction in Pakistan. So both China and Pakistan want Afghanistan to crack down on these groups. But the other interesting thing is that China said to this Taliban delegation, effectively, if you play your cards right, you could actually become part of this economic integration of the whole Eurasian landmass, if you will, and benefit from these Chinese Belt and Road initiatives. But for that, the Taliban obviously have to do certain things to make sure that China is reassured.
And what about Russia? On the one hand, its ambassador to Afghanistan met with the Taliban in Kabul on Tuesday, calling it constructive and positive. But on the other hand, 1,000 Russian troops have started military exercises in neighboring Tajikistan. What is going on there?
Well, Russia, I think like the Chinese and the Pakistanis, they want to start this relationship with this new regime in Kabul as well as they can. They want to start on a positive note, and that's certainly what we've heard from Russian diplomats. But at the same time, I think the military exercises send another message as well, which is to say that Russia will actually wait and see how the Taliban act when it comes to the border issue between Afghanistan and Tajikistan. We can show you a map of that border. You're going to see it in a second. And the Russians are very concerned because we now have essentially now there is an extremist group called Ansarullah that have taken up positions along the border. You can see a very thin red line there on the between Afghanistan and Tajikistan. That's the border I'm talking about. And the government of Tajikistan is very concerned about Ansarullah now controlling parts of that border. By extension, Russia is also very concerned by that because Russia and Tajikistan are allies within something called the CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization. So the Tajiks at the moment are very worried about what the presence of Ansarullah means in terms of possible infiltration of militants into Tajikistan, spread of extremist literature, drug smuggling, gun running, all those things. And I think these joint exercises are meant essentially sending a signal to the Taliban, look, you've got to make sure that Ansarullah doesn't destabilize Tajikistan. You've got to get a handle on them. And also that they don't destabilize other Central Asian republics, which are some of the other neighbors of Tajikistan, also members of that same Collective Security Treaty Organization I mentioned, and they are all concerned by potential spillover from Afghanistan in one way or another. Russia, of course, is concerned too because it has close relationships with these Central Asian republics that are, in fact, ex-Soviet republics themselves.
All right, thanks, Armen, France 24's international affairs editor, with that analysis there.